What's up, everybody? I'm James. Welcome to Mechanical Mayhem. I don't really like doing these style of videos. I'd rather talk about the setting or gameplay or stuff like that, lore and etc. But the unfortunate news of underperformance by the big wigs above PGI, like the company that owns PGI or runs them and a bunch of other companies, has led to layoffs in PGI. It also led to a complete closure of a whole other company, which is really unfortunate as well. A small one, a small company. I think unrelated to MW5 Clans, but still very unfortunate. So I want to touch upon this as briefly as I can, more so on the MechWarrior 5 side of things, not so much on the financial and the individual side of things. What I will say there is twofold, and definitely share your thoughts in the comments, but keep it more so on the MechWarrior 5 side of things. Let's not make it personal attack or anything like that anywhere. But firstly, all those affected by the layoffs, that's never fun, right? Um, Not just PGI, but the whole other company. I hope nothing but bright horizons for them in the future. It sucks to lose a job when you're not the one making the call to do it, right? So um, it's really disruptive to you, your family, and everything else. So um, I do hope they're able to move on to brighter horizons. The second thing I'll say is I do think it's kind of cruddy the way in which it was stated, because, and I'll say this again later, MechWarrior 5 Clans is actually a very good game. All my biases aside, which I'll label out in a moment, put that to the side and just look at the game for the finish of it, the play of it, the enjoyment factor of liking that style of game, not caring about what the mechs actually are and what faction side you're on. It's a well done game. It is very well done. Um, Plenty of people, myself included, have said it's probably the best Mech Warrior playing game, of the whole series from Mech Warrior 1 back in the '89, I believe, all the way to now. This is like has been the culmination of everything that's been learned and evolved over time, and it's fantastic. And this was said in the release, but then they go on to say they let people go, like 39 or something. To me, that's kind of, quite frankly, crappy, because to praise and then to basically enact consequence like this doesn't, they don't mesh, right? It doesn't go hand in hand. It's not good motivation for those left and whatever else. It's not. I just think it's kind of a raw deal, and that's just me. It's just the way it went down. Maybe they're really sweet about it as you can be internally, but just the way in which it reads really cruddy and really unfortunate. Beyond the the unfortunateness of having people lose jobs, especially when you're saying they did such a great job, right? It never really makes sense. Bungie did something like this with Destiny, right, and all that, and that has happened like more than one. I mean, it's so bringing that up. This is not just a unique affair here. This is like the gaming industry now, and I'm not getting it. But it could all. I also don't know financials and how afloat companies are because I'm not back there. So who knows? But it still never reads well. With that said, MechWarrior 5 Clans. Why? Now, I am a Battletech fan, so I have a Battletech bias in general, a MechWarrior specific style game bias, really liking that. I'm a fan of the clans and Smoke Jaguar specifically. Several biases to be sure. But like I said, putting that all to the side, MechWarrior 5 Clans is a very well done simulator game. So why then has it underperformed? I think part and parcel is it's very niche in this day and age. Not just being a simulator game, not just the setting it's a simulator game for, but being a single player driven story cinematic campaign experience is just not the big ticket right now. People want live service this, live service that, or seasonal based content style stuff in the game, right? Um, Space Marine 2 came out pretty recently as well. Fantastic game. It has seasons. It's not. I wouldn't know. I don't know if you would call it truly a live service game, but it has seasonal type content to it, or seasonal additions to it. Doing it in so far the right way, but that It's also a very well done game and continues to keep that going. It feeds more into that live service style of game philosophy that seems to be the hot ticket item when done appropriately. And MW5 Clans structure doesn't have that. It had DLC, right? It had one so far, a learning experience and everything, but still, it's not the same as having the seasonal stuff. So I think we have niche on top of niche on top of niche, more or less. The setting of BattleTech is a jewel of a setting, in my opinion, but it's in the shadows. You have to seek it out. Once you do, and you take the time to digest it a bit, you become hooked. On top of that, you have a simulator combat game. This is mech simulator, so it's simulating fictional stuff. Simulator gaming is not everybody's cup of tea, in general, regardless. So, those games tend to be, hidden gems as they're labeled later on in life. Gundam Crossfire on PlayStation 3 is you don't play as a Gundam, you play as either mobile suits, Zaku's and Goofs and Rickdoms and GNs and all that. It's very simulator style, truth be told, and that's really cool. It's kind of a hidden gem now, but it didn't. I don't think it came out to a standing ovation in comparison to something like Dynasty Warriors Gundam and stuff. You know what I mean? So simulator style of gameplay is always going to be a bit more specialized. And you add on top of that a story-driven narrative single-player focused campaign experience, cinematic as well, that isn't even like open play style like something like Arkham series has been. So a very particular way of doing things. I think all of that doesn't help. It helps it be a gem for people who just discover it or are fans of the setting already, but it doesn't help it get out there. And part of the big thing is they wanted to get it out there to get fresh faces to the setting. Totally understandable for business and just in general. But what also doesn't help that is what I think has also been a problem, and that is marketing. There's not been marketing at all. If you're internal, meaning if you're already in the system, as it were, being a fan, own MechWarrior Online, own MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, played it recently-ish enough when they first announced MechWarrior 5 Clans, you'd know about it. Or if you were part of a mailing list or get notifications, it would come, or they use their crazy algorithm stuff online and they give you ads that are focused to what you find interesting because they're watching you and don't think they're not. Anyway, you would have heard about this. But if you're not somebody who knows BattleTech is a thing, much less past maybe hearing about it one time or seeing something in a gaming store, or what have you, this will be completely off your radar. There was no hype generation. There's no modern way in which we see games get amped up for people that I could see. Their website was very quiet. Their YouTube page was pretty quiet. They did some like launch trailer type stuff and like another trailer before that, but they were very basic. They were fine, but they didn't do anything special. Good example of something special, doing a cinematic short. Nothing to do with the actual game's campaign. Nothing to do with Clan Smoke Jaguar, let's say, or even the clans. Do a cinematic with what you already have in system wise as a recap of the Star League, the Exodus, the build up to the clans that way. Some type of cinematic that we could watch and go, wow. Go from third person view to like in cockpit view as if you were playing, without the stuff that we see in our HUD, so make it feel a little more gritty and realistic or whatever. And have something that showcases like the final pivotal battle of the Star League before the Exodus happens, and then a time jump in the Exodus, and then a time jump in the clans, and then a time jump and we see an Omni-Mech. Something like that. A good 15 minutes of just raw footage to watch that uses nothing from the game cinematics, and then pump it out there on social media and stuff and everything else would have been a huge, I'm sure, cost, but also I think have been a big help. It's a risk. It could be a cost for naught, but you need to generate that buzz, and there was very little buzz generation. To be fair, there wasn't much of Mercenaries or MechWarrior Online either. While Mercenaries came out, what, 5 or so years after MechWarrior Online, MechWarrior Online was still pretty fresh, and it's still around, right? It's a purely online PvP game. So it was doing some pretty, fun stuff at that time, and was able to build up hype generation for MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Within it, we still had a pretty, fresh feel for a lot of people, on top of doing whatever meager stuff they did outside of that. This doesn't have that. I mean, yes, Idian talked about it in MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries' own little news feed, as well as MechWarrior Online, but if you're not in that already, you can't generate hype for new people if new people can't discover it, and they can't discover it if you don't do much publication for it, or at least publicity, I should say, for it in whatever ways. We didn't even see any crazy ARG stuff, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I'm not saying that marketing is what sunk it totally. I think it's a combination of having maybe too lofty of a goal. You get a little bit antsy and you over anticipate, and you get a little excited, and you make your goal maybe a little higher than it should have been. I'm sure there's some of that in there. I'm sure the whole niche factor times 3 has been in there, plus the marketing, which definitely doesn't help things. But we'll never know, really, I suppose, if it would have helped or not. What does this mean for the future to wrap things up? Well, I don't know. I'm hopeful we'll get DLC for MechWarrior 5 Clans still. I honestly feel like a solid DLC pack, just one to kind of help tread water, and then a second, like we've seen with Mercenary stuff, which have been, honestly, those DLC packs that were pretty good. We see solid DLC packs. I think we could see MechWarrior 5 Clans level out, stabilize, ascend a little bit, and be more, and have a longer runtime of being this gem that it is. It's called Clans, not one specific clan, and I say we can always come back later to the big payoff for the the final battle of 2K to Takayeda, however you pronounce it, against Comguard to end Operation Revival. They don't need to do that verbatim. Give us a DLC from Clan Ghost Bear or J Falcon or Wolf's Eyes. They're clans too. It's called MechWarrior 5 Clans, plural. So give us DLC packs of certain pivotal battles from their perspectives in their theaters of operation, introducing some new mechs and things like that. Retool the system a bit, make it more open so we can have those mechs also in the basic campaign as Smoke Jaguar and whatever else, right? As long as it's timeline appropriate, and just feed the machine. You feed it, it will produce. But what I hope doesn't happen is the pullback. They laid off. That doesn't help. If they just shut it down and leave it as is, I think that'd be the wrong call personally. But that's just me as a fan wanting more. I understand that there are harsh kind of truths that have to be done or actions to be taken on the business side. But I do think that reassess. Go from there with some awesome DLCs. Let us play as different clans, continue the story, whatever the case is. Jump back in time, whatever it is. Have fun with it. I think as long as the fun is there, I think we'll see a bit of a rebound. But I'm hopeful. In any case, that's all I got to say on that. I know, not the most fun thing to talk about. The playthrough is still going to be happening. I'm still working on that, as well as more builds to come, MechWarrior 5 Mercenary stuff, and lore and all that jazz. So, just the whole shebang all around that I can get my hands on and do stuff with. And until then, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you will take the time to leave some comments in the comment section and share your thoughts on the matter. I'm always eager to see people's thoughts. I crave the comments because I like seeing people's thoughts in action, if that makes any sense, or at least in words, so I can see how people are thinking about similar topic or the topic or whatever. Anyways, until next time, take care.